On today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about some art supplies I'm going to bring for a trip that I'm going to make tomorrow, as well as a review for my sketchbook and some art supplies I'm going to bring. So stay tuned to find out more. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose, and this video is a little different from the other ones that I've done so far, but it's because I want to show you a couple art supplies that I'm going to take during my small trip, and especially this sketchbook that is from the brand Pentalic Traveler Artist Sketchbook, and is the size of 6 inches by 8 inches, 160 pages, and acid free, made with recycled paper. And I'm going to tell you that I love this sketchbook so far. For all my sketchbook, it has this smooth texture on the paper. So I'll be going to show you a couple of sketches that I made so far, especially this one, Aska from Evangelion, as long as doing sketches from for my surroundings, and also just sketching also ideas for my next illustration. So before I'm going to try this on, I just want to show you what I'm going to bring for my trip. Of course, it's a general, like, there's some art supplies that I'm going to switch when I'm going to pack, but mostly I'm going to bring my sharpener, my erasers, some kind of pencils, mostly graphite, mechanical ones, like, and also I can't forget to bring my all set of microns pens that I put everything, even the duplicated ones, like this old brush pen right there. So basically is everything I'm going to bring for my small trip, so I can sketch everything, a little bit of everything, or from the picture or still life. But so that I'm going to show you a couple pencils that I'm going to bring. But basically it's gonna be pencils, those pens, and also a couple of watercolor brushes, like this one from Winsor & Newton that comes very handy, and the paper holds it very well, as long as a couple of dual brush pens from Tumble that not exactly these colors, but I'm going to bring a couple of those. So for now, I'm going to test it out in the last page of this sketchbook, some all the supplies that I'm going to bring. Of course, in the last video, I just did the same method with some art supplies from the box from Jean, and I always test how they behave over graphite pencils and the rest of the materials as well. So I will tell you that everything that comes with pencils, like graphite or the mechanical ones that I'm going to talk a little bit more later, it behaves pretty well. It glides, I'm sorry for the expression, but it glides like butter, like it really blends really well. It's very easy to sketch those lines because of the smooth texture compared with other papers that I used before. So, and even with this pencil, which is a water-based graphite, works really well. And even with a little bit of water that I have at the end, it didn't bend the paper too much. Although I was checking the reviews on this paper and the information, and the paper is good for some web media, but no heavy web media like watercolor or gouache or acrylic. So as you can see, I just say the things before the test, so it's okay. So I'm gonna talk about these color lists, and these ones come in very handy. This one is for pilot, and another one is for uni. Both of them you can find at Amazon or other office supplies stores online. And I would tell you that the pilot and the uni are really good, and that comes in variety of colors. The only difference between the pilot and the uni one is the pilot tends to break, in my experience, breaks a little bit more, and the uni has a more sturdy lid, but also it behaves very well on the paper and doesn't break as much as the pilot. So, and since I'm using those color lists, it really helped me a lot with my sketches. So the next thing I'm going to try is the watercolor brush, and I use a couple of times at the beginning of those pages of my sketchbook because there are extremely light, not just light, like it really helps me like create those lines and those curves for if you want to draw hair or you want to create some fluid sketches without thinking too much on the final work. And I try with the watercolor brush to dilute a little bit, and after drying it behaved very well. It didn't bend the paper too much, although I don't want to abuse on the water on this paper. So the next one I'm going to try is the tumble, and the same thing as the Winsor & Newton. It works really well from as itself, but also when you dilute it with water, as you can see in a couple of seconds. But I really like the way the brush nib behaves, and it helps me a lot with a couple of sketches that you saw in the beginning of the video. So the only thing that I didn't dilute the ink too much because it was already had the color of the Winsor & Newton, which the pigment is really rich. So next thing I'm going to try is a couple of microns, and also for liner works really well. I really like how they behave. Even though I tend to ruin the nibs over the course of the time, but I want this paper it didn't affect too much. So especially with the brush nib, which I recently started to get used to it. So I just make a couple strokes, drawing a little eyes so I could try it. So I just tried the brush nib, also the graphic, I think it calls graphic. Yeah, I think so. Sorry about that. But I also use that for outlines and stuff, or for writing. That's why I keep it apart. Also, I just tried the 08 and the 05, and later on the 03 for do some shadings on lines, just to try this on. And it's pretty useful, especially on a couple of sketches that I did at the beginning on this page that didn't show up at the beginning because there's some parts of the sketches I just cut, but it's because there are premium content for patrons, so sorry about that unless you want to join. Promo over here. So another surprise that I try is the aqua markers, and I know for sure that it's going to lead through because it's not the paper it's not the appropriate paper for that, but I want to try, and I also forgot to put a paper behind all the page they are working for, so now I can start to layer a little bit and try a couple of colors as well. And I know for sure it's going to lead through because the ink is so potent. But it's because the paper is not thick enough, so I could work on it, but unless I could have a paper behind. So I tried a couple of paint pens like this one from, and I forgot the brand, and I have it close by. It's called Painters. You can find this on Walmart or any craft store that are not sponsored and not affiliated. So you can find it in the craft sections. You're supposed to paint fabric and stuff. Okay, you can use it on anything. So I use a little bit of blender to layer up, and the next thing I just tried is the Posca pens. Oh my god. Posca pens, that it behave really well. I really like how it works on the paper and looks nice. I really like how it works. Maybe one day I could do an illustration on those. So right now I'm going to use watercolor, but just normal watercolor from the half pans, and this time I use the pearlescent set from, I think the brand is Royal Nickel, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's from that. So I use one of the colors, and honestly I thought it will affect the paper, but after it dried it didn't affect at all. Although, like I said before, I don't want to abuse on the paper because it's suitable for most dry medias, some wet medias, but I don't want to, like I said, use heavy paints on this paper. So there you have it, the test paper. And it's really nice how they look. Although when you turn back on the page, the only one who will lead through is the alcohol marker. The rest of the supplies doesn't have a problem with the paper, so it's good. It's good. So now for the next thing is illustration, and this time I'm going to draw another version of Zera. Zera belongs to JezerArt, and I had the privilege to work on her concept as well from the story that we're working together called Argent Chronicles. And since then I can't stop drawing her. It's like my other OC gospel. I'm gonna put a photo of her in somewhere in the screen, but overall, and I just tried to make a couple castles on her wearing different clothing. So, and at the same time, and at that moment that I was recording was a Sunday. I was really tired, but I want to make this video and share it with you guys. So the only character I could draw over and over again is Zera. So I just found a reference on Pinterest and I started drawing her. Of course, I had to, if I do it again, I could get the proportions better, but I didn't mind at the moment to do that. So I decided to keep working like that and finishing the sketch. I didn't record part of the process of the sketch because at that moment I want to see a service online, and I tend to watch it at certain hours, so I decide to keep sketching while watching the online service. And as soon as they finish, I come back to record. That's why you can see the sketch really advanced at this point. At the same time, I was talking with my friend Jezer, exchanging ideas and stuff. So part of the filming process at the same time was sharing the process with him and talking a few ideas, projects that we're going to do in the following months. So there's some parts that I did from that because I thought too much. Guys, I thought too much, and right now I'm still talking, and I have the half of this video to keep talking, but it's okay because there's gonna be a part 2. I'm going to talk a little bit more, so nothing. The point is that because I talk too much, I tend to stop, so I have to edit a little bit of the video so I can go and make it a little bit shorter. And so yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about the sketching here, but I think I'll start to sketch again like a month and a half ago, because at the beginning I was having a rhythm, but then there comes a time that my full-time job is getting a little headache sometimes. And another thing is that usually I don't draw too much during my breaks. Sometimes I just eat a snack, check my phone, and unfortunately a part of checking my messages and stuff, I decide to scrolling instead. And then this is one of the things that I need to change. And speaking about changing your habits, I was trying to maintain another type of workflow, balancing between my everyday life and work, and also working on art. And when I saw this sketchbook, I see that the paper is super smooth and it's a little more bigger than the one that I have to hold the sketchbook. And making a parenthesis, that's the only downside of this sketchbook, because I know that it says traveler and it's meant to use for drawing outside, but as a sketchbook that you had to draw on the table, it's really difficult. You have to put a heavy item on the other side of the page, because it tends to close unless I can keep drawing in the following pages and I get to the half to see if they're going to bend or not. But that's the only thing that I don't like of this sketchbook. Maybe it's for the purpose of taking everywhere and draw everywhere. But close parentheses, I wanna have it a few months, mostly a month and a half, that I try to change and readjust my way to work and balancing between my everyday life, work and stuff. So I decided to, instead of scrolling my phone, I'm going to change like sketching. No matter how finished may look, I just want to draw, like doodle this, doodle that, like doing hairs, or if it is about concept art or idea that I have in mind I want to transfer to the paper, I would do that and do small sketches of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how fast I eat during my breaks, or how early I come to the break room, because break rooms and my full-time job are really far away. So unless I can have a station closer to them. So this is in the little minutes that I have, I just taking the chance and and start to draw. Also, it has me too much the fact that you have to turn off the notifications or some apps that you think that it might consume your time. And a few months ago, I left Twitch, and since then I'm not using that app. And on my phone, I deleted that app, but I still have it in my iPad. And also, I deleted the app of Facebook, because I know that even that I filter my news and the people they are supposed to follow, and I decided to unfriend some of them because it's been a while and I don't know why, but I do the normal cleaning that I do. And since then, I don't have any issues on coming back to the app to see. Just 2 or 3 times a month, that's it. Maybe to change my profile picture or stuff, or check my page. But other than that, I prefer not see anything. So the only app that I think I have a issue or keep scrolling without stopping is Instagram. So what I did is turn off the notifications, and when I need to post something, I post it, and otherwise I leave it at that. And I try to saturate my how I gotta change my art. There's some art that I share on Patreon, and there's some art that I gotta share on Instagram. And probably I'm be doing more reels than pictures, because they are more easy to make. And also, when I do my creative process on doing artworks and doing projects in the making, I tend to do mini clips on my camera, and if I want to share it, I share it on Instagram. If not, I make a compilation and I share it on either Instagram or TikTok. But turning down notifications on majority of my apps helps me a lot. And also setting a timer when I'm going to work on my art, and I dedicate an hour on each project, and then I spend the rest of the afternoon either sharing with my parents or cook a new recipe, and do other stuff besides sitting in the chair and doing, not just doing art, but you end up try to watch something for YouTube, and you end up distracted watching videos. Unless you want to learn something, you can either do that, but it's a process. And I see that little by little I'm getting back on track, deciding or working on certain projects and having the support. And I'm really happy with the results that I'm getting, especially when I decide to face my relationship with my family. My family are okay. The thing is that there was a moment that I got some into the social media and tried to focus on my art, that I forgot about them. No, I don't mean that dedicate time to art is bad, but I know that there's other things that you need to enjoy. And as soon as you see this video, I'm finally starting my vacations for my full-time job, and I'm going to take some time to do art, but I'm going to take the majority of the day to enjoy other things besides sitting in my studio and explore the world. Of course, taking precautions, guys, because the outside world is not easy. But yeah, it's small changes, small steps, little by little to get back when I used to work before everything else. That stage of this experience, this journey, I could talk a little more later on. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the artwork, and as you can see, I just line art. I just make the shadows, all these pants, the hat, the shoes, and I use the tumble. Of course, not the colors. I ended up taking that color with me, but I use a couple of colors for the dual brush pens. And to be honest, layering with the skin colors, first of all, it's not the skin color it's supposed to be, but I try to layer, and I see that it can compromise the paper a little bit, so I gotta stop unless I could let it dry, and then I just layer one on top of another other where it's still wet. So sorry. So I decided to apply at least one layer, wait until it dry, and then I apply another media on top of it. So, and I love this pink. When I was coloring, I was telling my friend about the Zera hair. When I imagine it and I color it, this kind of shade is like pink Himalayan soft pink hair. No, it's not fuchsia. It's not pink or peppermint moon. No, not that kind of pink. That Himalayan salt pink, like like that. So from the dual brush pens, that pink I really love it so much, and I use it mostly on her hair the majority of the time when I have the chance. If I use the equivalent alcohol markers, then I try to match the most that I can. So as for the rest of her clothing, I use the gray, between the gray and the black, and the layering between those two was okay, but I wait a little bit to dry, and then I layer on top of it so it can add a little bit on dimension. And I was thinking if I have a darker gray, I will use it, but at the moment I didn't think about it. Maybe I should add a little a wash or ivory black or Payne's gray from the watercolor set that I had nearby, but I didn't think about that. But it could be a great idea because originally the reference has like dark stockings, but at the same time I really like to be this way. So yeah, I'm going to, as soon as you see this video upload, I'll be going to another state, and one of my cousins are going to have a special event, and to share a little bit, but at the same time I want to take this chance to draw my surroundings, or maybe take some pictures, and later on when I get to the place then I'm going to stay and draw a little bit. So expect a part 2 of this video because when I come back, that is gonna be pretty soon. I'm not going to stay more, not much, not too much days over there, but when I come back, I wanna show you how many sketches I did so far and how it went and everything else. So at the end of this illustration, I just use the Winsor and Newton watercolor brush pens so to create an outline. I decided not to do elaborate background, but at least a color that make her stand out because the majority is gray and black. So this is the final result, and she looks so cute. I just say that I have to be a little more careful with the layering because the back of the paper lead through a little bit, but it doesn't affect the next page. So there you have it. You have Zera with a really cool outfit, and I hope you guys like it. Thank you so much to be with me in this video, and I will see you in the next one. So see you guys later. Bye.